get cut from the soccer team, and then they get a failed paper, and then they get dumped by the girlfriend, and the list goes a million miles long. And what do all those experiences possibly reinforce? The idea that he might be worthless. And you'll do all sorts of stuff to try and behave away from it and avoid it and isolate and go perform and relate in ways to try and, because no one really wants to live in that skin. It's not natural. It's not good. It's not healthy. But now this 13-year-old is 23 years old and he's walking on a college campus and a girl walks up and bumps his arm. Next thing you know, she holds his hand. Then they're at coffee. Days and weeks go by. They converse. And he's getting all sorts of new data fed to him from his sensory inputs. He smells the pheromones coming off of her skin. He feels the electricity on the skin when they hold hands. He hears words coming into his ears of love and affection and admiration and trust. He sees the countenance on her face, and all of it validates in new data that he is worthy of her love. The new data validates it. But before it becomes a part of his conscious reality, guess what that new data has to get interpreted through? The old prevailing lens that might win out. Doesn't always.
Conscious mind.
Now, here's what's really cool.
Eyes.
This new data could be in an experience that is so chemically sensitive and aware that it could literally in that instant override the old idea. It could pave a whole new pathway in the brain. But it may not. I think for a moment he's going to try and grab onto it and hold it in this case. But what happens the next day when he's like, yeah, I am worthy of her love. And then he misses that next lunch date. And she texts him all upset. Boom. Revert right back. I knew I wasn't really worthy of her love. That story can play out 1,000 different ways, and I'm not trying to be overly sensitive or dramatic about it. And that's just one example. Okay? The plant of who and what we are, these ideas that become a part of our reality. There's thousands of different adjectives and words to describe personality, traits, and characteristics. But there are these limiting beliefs, these ideas that become adopted as reality, becomes neurologically conditioned. So by the time this data becomes a part of your reality, it's based on partial data to begin with because you don't have the functional ability. None of us do. No human being operates at full capacity. No one's body or brain works perfectly. That's Insight's definition of disability, and it applies to every single human being, myself included. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Insight's dream would just be to erase the line in the sand between able and disabled.
Yeah.
Fair enough?
Yeah.
It's our heart. So no two filters are alike in the subconscious brain. This new data, right now, none of us are filtering this experience in an identical fashion. So we are all having a totally unique conscious experience in this very instant, this very moment, with this very message. So the reality of reality is that it's based on partial data because you can't take it all in anyways. It's dependent on this filter, so you only have a fraction or a portion of it anyways. And it's been interpreted based on old prevailing ideas and belief systems and scripts and so forth. Let me just share one more quick example. We had a presidential election, right? A couple years ago.
Yeah.
And I was sitting on the couch and I had my daughter at the time who was about 9 years old. And she had decided who she thought she wanted to win. I won't tell you why she thought who she wanted to win. It wasn't my fault. And we're watching the numbers tick up on the screen as to these state votes come in, and all of a sudden some numbers come and the things change, and she also gets really like emotionally sad that these numbers just changed. She's 9. Does she know what any of this really actually means technically? No. But she had a visceral emotional reaction to this new data. Now here's what's really intriguing. My 7-year-old nephew, who lives 10 miles away from us, and we engage with him relationally on a regular basis, had decided, for some reason, that he wanted the other person to win. And the very moment that the screen and the numbers changed, a Facebook post from my sister-in-law said, "My son is jumping up and down on the couch, screaming his head off, super excited right now." Having the exact opposite emotional experience to my 9-year-old daughter. neither of whom are old enough or have enough life experience to really appreciate what any of this actually technically means. Why do I share that example? Because I have planted into my 9-year-old, as my brother and his wife have planted in their 7-year-old, belief systems that are counter to one another in a certain way. We have molded their existence. It's impossible not to. We are all the product of those molds, on some level, some variation. From parents, from teachers, from coaches, from Boy Scout counselors, and the list goes a million miles long, to the friends and the movie characters and the book characters that we fall in love with. And they all start to create a fabric of our identities and our ideas and our perceptions. And to us, they become so real and so factual that when new data comes in, it can't not get interpreted through that perspective. So our conscious reality is ours and it's fact, and that's the way it's going to be. But the other person's is totally fact to them. That consideration right there alone will should change your heart, your empathy, natural empathy for every other person's circumstance in this entire life. Does that make sense? When I realize that my reality